Langrisser.
Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I'm going to do one more Apex Arena Season 3 playoff match review. And this match will be the battle between TrueGod and Skelos. So we can see right here that the battle went 2-0 to TrueGod, and honestly, it was kind of a roll for TrueGod, but this battle was interesting because of the characters used and the strategies used by TrueGod. So let's jump in and get started. Alright, so we start by looking at the two sides, I guess, lineup of characters, right? And TrueGod's lineup has most of the top tier characters, frankly. You know, Deedlit, for example, Wilder, Liana, Rachel. The surprise though is Kurama, right? And actually Julia. Everyone else in this lineup is pretty much top tier meta at this point, although I would say Julia and Kurama were the questionable choices in this mix. On Skelos' side, no, it's also a pretty common meta build, but there is, I guess, some vulnerabilities, for example, like Elwin, right? Elwin and Julia are both mostly considered obsolete by this point because they lack mobility and they have to really get into close range to do their single target strike, which is not easy with all these characters who can act again, do 3Cs, and so on and so forth. In any case though, in addition, Skelos actually has 4 healers in his party, right? So there's Iris, Liana, Tieris, and Wilder. So it's a 4 healer, a much more traditional party, and yeah, so let's get started and go for the pick ban phase. So Juggler has been banned on Skelos' side, and same thing for TrueGod. So both sides got rid of Juggler. And Skelos plays Landius, Listel and Liana are banned, and TrueGod plays Landius as well. So TrueGod now loses Listel and Mystery Knight, while Skelos plays Wilder. Luna and Zerda are now banned. Wilder is also played on TrueGod's side. Okay. Zerda and Julia are banned. And Skelos plays Angelina. Kind of a surprising third pick. Alright, Bozel, Mystery Knight are now banned. And TrueGod plays Kurama, another surprising third character pick, right? Given all the other choices. So Yusuke and Rachel are banned on TrueGod's side. And Skelos plays Rachel. Right? Hiei and Elwin are now banned, forcing Skelos to play a second healer. And on TrueGod's side, Hiei is played. So finally, TrueGod bans Deedlit and Iris, and then Skelos plays Tieris, while TrueGod plays Liana. Alright, so overall, looking at this, I would say from the pick ban anyways, it's the very, very questionable thing was allowing TrueGod to play Liana last as player 2. Now, that's never something that should ever happen, frankly speaking. Act again is so powerful. So I'm really, really surprised Skelos did not ban Liana. At least, even if it was just in the last phase. In any case, let's begin. So, let's take a look at the skills now. So Wilder here has regroup, high stakes, and tactical retreat, which may be a bit of an issue considering who he's facing. I think this was a skill selection pick due to Skelos' lack of knowledge of Kurama. Okay, and Rachel here has Arcane Blast, Gospel, and Dark Reaper. I'm kind of surprised there's no 3C choice, right? Usually speaking, you do see Runic Void with Runic Void, Gospel, and then maybe the one point skill, right? Like Lightning or whatever. Especially when you're facing off against Landius. So I'm not sure I agree with the Dark Reaper choice, but regardless, Angelina has a really weird skill set here, right? Alternate, Lightning, and Breath of Tides. Right? The 3C Breath of Tides should always be brought, but usually you bring Tidal Surge for extra mobility. And the last point would be either alternate or ram. So that was a very, very odd skill selection there. Not one I've seen on Angelina. Tieris has Heal, Miracle, and Attack Blessing. And then finally Landius, the usual. On TrueGod's side, so Kurama is a very interesting character. Okay, let's go over him in detail right now. First, Kurama is part of Yelas Legends, so he will get faction buff by Landius. Second, Kurama's talent effect is that if you're on forest, mountain, grassland, cave, or water tiles, int and magic defense is increased by 20%. And at the end of Kurama's turn, you have a 100% chance to reduce the cooldown of all skills by 1. So it's just a very, very handy skill to have. Okay. Kurama also has a transform state like any other Yu Yu Hakusho character, and the transform state effect is that the ground wherever you're standing is treated as grassland. You also ignore melee damage mitigation, and when attacking, ignore 20% of the enemy's magic defense, and this effect lasts 2 turns. After the effect has ended, you are unable to counterattack when attacked for 2 turns. And, you know, the usual can't be dispelled, they ignore immunity, and so on. So, what's great about this is basically, Kurama does additional damage due to ignoring enemy magic defense, and the downtime effect isn't a big deal, because you're just unable to counterattack. But as long as you're in Landius' guard range, you don't have to counterattack anyways. Right? In addition, since he can ignore melee damage mitigation, Kurama is able to function as a melee range magic attacker. Kind of like Yulia, right? As well as a range attacker. So, I guess TrueGod brought Skeleton Knights because if needed, he can melee attack, first of all. And second of all, Skeleton Knights are much tankier than, let's say, Sorcerers or whatnot. So this should allow Kurama to tank a hit, you know, and if needed, melee attack the enemy Landius, and the Royal Cavalry won't have any kind of damage reduction effects since... Oh wait, no, the Royal Cavalry would have damage reduction effects against the Skeleton Knights. So I guess the Skeleton Knight choice was purely for survival, right? It's just, this Kurama was built to use AoEs, right? Because it's bringing Rose Whip, Thorn Wheel, and Acid Burn for 2 AoE skills. So Hiei, all attack skills, Dragon of Darkness Flame, Sword of Darkness Flame, Fist of Mortal Flame. Liana, Gospel, Prayer, Act Again. Wyler, High Stakes, Mass Heal, Strengthen. Both sides, I mean, I'm not sure the Strengthen is required either, because Kurama gets faction buff by Landius, right? You have Strengthen and Gospel, but you only need to buff Hiei once, I feel. But maybe it was brought just in case, because maybe, like, if Hiei manages to survive after the first turn, he can get buffed again, right? So Liana, Strengthen first, then Gospel or something. Or maybe Gospel can be used on Landius to prevent him from receiving any, so that he's immune to all debuffs. In any case, though, let's begin the battle now. So Landius just charges forward, faction buff. Fruits of World Pass. Gospel on Landius. Immunity to all debuffs. Right. Landius also activates faction buff now. And Gospel is used on Hiei. Oh, and it's a Gospel that lasts 3 turns. So clearly Liana has Teddy Bear or Juggler Plushie. Alright, so now Landius moves up a bit, Peace of Mind is activated. And now Kurama uses his Rose Whip Thorn Wheel. So, Rose Whip Thorn Wheel is really, really nasty because when all enemies within 5 surrounding blocks have taken action, they take fixed damage equals to 2 times Kurama's int. That 5 AoE that 5 range is really, really nasty in terms of, locking down enemy characters. So now, Kurama has activated that, and so it's going to be very difficult for Skelos to avoid getting damaged. So Skelos for now uses Miracle to buff. And Wyler activates High Stakes now. So this is, I guess, to protect Kurama. And Landius moves up, uses Peace of Mind. And Wilder high stakes as well. So, that's one of the things I've been wondering is, for example, if Angelina actually had Tidal Surge there, she might have been able to move up, right? Use her 3C to knock Kurama back 2 tiles, right? So he would be here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You take fixed damage, but Landius won't be moved. So then you could charge forward and attack Kurama at that point. Of course, the problem is with high stakes activated, Kurama would probably heal to full hit points before combat begins. So maybe that's why lightning was brought, right? In hopes of that 1.5 times damage being able to single one-shot Kurama. That's probably the explanation. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Angelina did not commit into attack. So in the meantime, Hiei charges in, attacks, and this is where it gets weird. He used Sword of Darkness Flame. Both sides do heal to full, and Sword of Darkness Flame doesn't do enough damage to kill Angelina, right? So that's because Sword of Darkness Flame does 1.2 times damage. It does dispel two buffs, okay, to be fair. But and it did remove the 20% it removed the 20% defense increase buff on Angelina, for example. But yeah, it wasn't enough to kill at the end of the day, even with the fixed damage hit after attacking. So in a lot of ways, if you were going to commit Hiei in this kind of situation, Fist of Mortal Flame would have been the much better option, because Fist of Mortal Flame can apply the effect of all damage taken is increased by 15%, and any healing received is converted into damage equals to 50% of the healing amount, and it lasts 2 turns, right? So with that debuff on Angelina can't attack because the Desperate Prayer would turn into damage. The healing light after combat would turn into damage. So I'm not sure why he chose Sword of Darkness Flame. Maybe TrueGod just thought that it could one-shot, most likely, but it clearly didn't due to high stakes being active. In any case, because of that, Hiei gets killed by Angelina very easily. So, you would think at this point that Skelos would have a huge advantage, right, due to having 1 kill while the other side has no kills at this point. But this is where Skelos makes a massive mistake. Instead of moving Landius far back, he moved Landius up 1 tile. So with moving up 1 tile, first of all, Landius took that fixed damage hit from Kurama, and second, Kurama is able to use Acid Burn on Landius and Rachel. And with Acid Burn, both of them cannot be healed applied onto them. So that was a really, really fatal mistake, okay? Waller uses Tactical Retreat, pulls them back, but the thing is, they can't heal because they have Acid Burn on them. So I think this was, I just didn't really understand that move. At the very least, maybe he didn't even take a look at what skills Kurama had and didn't realize that Acid Burn was available. I don't know. So it is what it is. I mean, that really put Skelos in a very dangerous position. And because Clock's activated, Kurama was able to use Acid Burn a second time. And that second Acid Burn killed off both Rachel and Wilder. So just like that, Skelos is down to 3 characters. And there cannot be healed debuffs on all 3. Angelina tries to attack, but she's running into a brick wall, basically, right? And it gets killed there. I also question that move. Like, this Landius has peace of mind, so what really should have been done was move over here, use the 3C, knock Kurama and Liana back, then single target strike either Liana or Kurama, right? Instead, Skelos chose to attack Landius, and obviously Landius with Royal Cavalry would never be killed by Angelina. So this leads to Angelina dying, and Landius, yeah, and then Skelos has no choice but to surrender. So Skelos made some very, very big errors in this first match. Okay. So for the second match, they've made some team adjustments on both sides. Very odd team adjustments, if I have to say so, right? Skelos removed TA for a Shafaniel, and then TrueGod removed Zerida for Illustrial. Not sure I understand either move. Frankly speaking, like, Zerida is a top priority ban anyways, even if you don't play her. So why would you get rid of her for Illustrial? I'm not sure I understood that move. And similarly, Hiei is a top tier character. Why would you remove Hiei for Shafaniel? There's other characters you could remove to get that kind of trade in. In any case though, both sides ban Juggler to start, just like before. Both sides, okay, so Skelos plays Landius again, loses Shafaniel and Listel. So clearly TrueGod doesn't even want to face this Shafaniel and just gets rid of her. And then TrueGod plays Landius. So both sides are playing the same tank, right? So Listel and Liana are now banned, so Skelos chose to ban Liana early this time around. Maybe a bit too early, but in any case, Skelos now plays Rachel and loses Luna and Zerida. I'm not sure why you wouldn't choose to bring Zerida at that point instead of Rachel. In any case, TrueGod gets to play Wilder again, so same strategy more or less. Right. So Illustrial and Hiei are banned, the two ignore guard characters, and Skelos plays Angelina yet again. Still don't understand this strategy on Skelos' side. Liana and Wilder are banned now, and TrueGod plays Kurama. So TrueGod has played the exact same characters so far. Okay. So Skelos bans Dietlit and Yulia, plays Iris, one of the two remaining healers. Okay. Skelos now loses Bozel and Mystery Knight, leaving just Elwyn and Tieris. Meanwhile, TrueGod gets to play Knight of Mysteries. Okay. Finally, Yusuke and Bozel are banned, and Skelos plays Tieris, and TrueGod now has the choice between Rachel and Iris. Okay. I'm going to bet Rachel gets picked at this point. So looking at these two parties, I would say TrueGod now has a massive advantage. Flat out, right? Skelos has now been forced to bring two healers, and I really think the damage dealers Skelos have are very questionable faced against Landius. Okay. On TrueGod's side, right? Yeah, so Rachel is picked, and what we see here is there's going to be high stakes to go with Landius, and there's going to be 3 attackers. All 3 are magic damage dealers, and Landius, unless Landius has Templar Knights, he doesn't do well against magic attacks. Even with Templar Knights, I don't think he'll do that well against these magic attacks. So let's go in and see. So, just looking at this party, I don't see any win condition for Skelos, frankly speaking. But let's see this play out, because this battle was recommended to me, so there has to be a reason why. Right? So Angelina, first of all, does bring the correct skill set this time: Tidal Surge, Ram, and Breath of Tides. So this is the most common skill combo for Angelina, or one of them. The other one being Breath of Tides, Alternate, and then Dragon's Breath. Assuming you're going for an AoE assault. Landius is as usual. Iris has heal, Legerdanda Iris, and Mass Heal. And Rachel has Dark Reaper, Gospel, and Arcane Blast. Hasn't changed skills on this Rachel. Okay. Tiaras has the previous combo. Heal, Miracle, Attack, Blessing. The whole problem here, I still don't see any way for Skelos to deal with Acid Burn, right? There's no real... Yeah. And TrueGod, let's take a look at his party. So, usual Landius. Wyler didn't change his skills. Didn't really... Or actually he did. He replaced Strengthen with Regroup. Makes sense because this whole party is actually faction buffed by Landius, right? Yelas Legends character, Yelas Legends character, Yelas Legends character. And Yelas Legends character. So Regroup, Mass Seal, High Stakes. And Rachel has 2 AoEs, Arcane Blast and Runic Void and Meditation. Knight of Mysteries has 2 AoEs and Backtrack for retreating. So Thunder Zone, forget Backtrack. And then Kurama has 2 AoEs and Fruits of World Pass. So TrueGod is going for a pure AoE assault team. This is actually quite interesting. 3 AoE attackers with Langrisser as a tank and Wyler for high stakes. Let's go. Frankly speaking, I don't think Skelos has any way to fight against this AoE team. Gospel. Now that was a little bit of an odd maneuver. Knight of Mysteries decided to move 4 tiles down. Why? Oh, I see why. Okay, because TrueGod is very leery of Breath of Tides. Okay, so because Iris can teleport Angelina forward, for example, or Angelina can tidal surge forward and attack. So with that, he is spreading out his characters to try to avoid the Breath of Tides. Okay. Alright, so Landius moves up. Iris teleports Angelina forward. And Wyler activates High Stakes. So Skelos, Breath of Tides to 3C. The AoE will kill off Wyler, just like that. Right? And push back Kurama. Now, in this situation, it's highly unlikely for Angelina, who has already taken damage, to be able to one-shot this Kurama, who will heal to full before combat begins due to Desperate Prayer. So, yeah, makes sense. Angelina now retreats and uses Tidal Surge to get it completely out of range. So that was a pretty good combo, actually. So now Skelos is going to pull back completely to try to avoid TrueGod's party. Makes a lot of sense, right? Killed off the enemy healer. You need 3 turns for High Stakes to wear off. So the retreat begins. Alright, and Knight of Mystery shows off her nastiness. That high mobility of hers, right? She's able to charge 5 tiles up, use her Thunder Zone, which has the 3 circle. 3 circles means that, this is the first circle, this is the second circle, this is the third circle. So Landius got hit as well. Okay. And then she can backtrack to retreat. So Skelos is trying to repair that damage, so Miracle is used to start. Okay. And Angelina runs further back. Not sure if I agree with that move either. Okay. Because running like that, Angelina is still in range of Runic Void. So Rachel comes up, and yeah, all the characters are in range of Runic Void. So that was another massive mistake on Skelos' side. Okay. Now, Landius didn't get any of those fixed damage effects because he is immune to all debuffs. But yeah, that was a very, very bad move on Skello's side. You know, Angelina should have been out of range. So should Rachel. Maybe he decided to take that hit because I'm not sure. I'm really not. Maybe he decided to try to take that hit to make Rachel use it now. But at the end of the day, he took the hit with 4 characters. That's just too many characters that got hit by it. Maybe if you only had 2 characters, that would be acceptable. But 4 is rough. In any case, so after that, yeah, Rachel launches another AoE. This time Arcane Blast. Iris dies. So yeah, double AoE, you know, down goes Iris. And in large part that was because Iris has no faction buff in this fight, right? So she was missing 30% of magic defense, and thus Rachel did a ridiculous amount of damage. So Tiaris comes down to try to heal up Angelina. Mystery Knight comes up, forgets another AoE. So after Angelina got decently healed to the point where she might have been able to attack and kill Rachel, she got knocked right back down. And in addition, Rachel being placed where she is actually not really in range to attack anyone. I mean, she could attack Kurama and Landius here with an Arcane Blast, but she can't single target strike anyone. So once again, I really questioned the Arcane Blast Dark Reaper choice. If she had Runic Void plus Lightning, I think she would have been more useful here, right? Lightning could also do tons of damage to Knight of Mysteries as a side note, because Lightning does extra damage to Cavalry. So in any case, so Landius moves up, right? Angelina takes tons of fixed damage. And Rachel uses Gospel, since she can't attack anyone. More fixed damage from Runic Void, right? Look at that. Just like that, Rachel's down to half health from Runic Void. So the Runic Void is really messing up Skello's party. This AoE Assault is working out really well. Thunder Zone again. So, that Thunder Zone came into effect because the Knight of Mysteries, this is a 6-star Knight of Mysteries by the way, right? If you move 20 blocks, all skill cooldowns are reset at the end of the turn. So since she had the skill cooldown reset occur, Thunder Zone was usable once more. Rachel does a single target strike, heals up a bit from Dark Reaper, takes more fixed damage. Acid Burn from Kurama kills off Tiaris, and it's over. Yeah. So that the second battle was completely won in the pick ban phase. But with that said, TrueGod did play it out very, very well with the full AoE assault. Definitely an interesting strategy, right? Especially with the acid burn. I feel like I'm underestimating acid burn a lot, and that I should look into it once again, because that was just nasty, right? Applying the cannot be healed debuffs over and over again. And yeah, so there we have it. So overall, yeah, this was a match where TrueGod won very easily, but it was actually a very interesting match. So I'm glad that this match was referred to me. So thank you, B-Guy, for suggesting that I do a match review of this fight, because it was actually quite interesting. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found that video useful to you. And on that note, Nitro out.